to you by Best Movie Ratings. Best Movie Ratings is a one-stop, easy and elegant movie ratings experience. Stop wasting your time on bad movies and download the world's best movie ratings app from the iTunes App Store now.
Hi everyone, this is Ahmed Kremli and welcome to Be Efficient TV. The mission of this web TV show is to boost the efficiency of your business and life through tips and tricks from leading experts. And today I have with me Dan Norris. He is the co-founder of WP Curve and he is the author of the 7-Day Startup. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. What's your background before WP Curve?
I ran a web agency for about 7 years and I had really no success the whole time. I was sort of able to keep it alive, but I was never able to make it into a good business. So I sort of ran that for 7 years, ended up selling it, gave myself a year to do something else, and I worked on a startup for a year. That was a complete failure. And then when I was a couple of weeks away from having to get a job, I started WP Curve, and that was about 14 months ago, and that's going quite well. I'm sure we'll get into that. But yeah, so my background is very similar to a lot of people I've sort of connected with over the years, in that I've started a business that really just wasn't profitable for a lot of reasons, and I wasn't able to grow it.
Why it didn't work the typical, let's say, web development company? Because it's was depending on a local sales or like sales calls, offline sales?
Well, I mean, fundamentally, the reason it didn't work is because it wasn't profitable, and I didn't really know. I did everything myself, and when I tried to grow it beyond myself, it just didn't grow because it would cost me too much to replace myself. And it was just, a lot of businesses are good enough to make you a wage because you're working so hard in them, but then going from that to grow it any further becomes impossible if there's just fundamentally no profit there. And yeah, that's the book is sort of about that, because I think a lot of people start a business because they're getting projects in, they sort of think it's going well. And I always thought it was going pretty well. The revenues were always going up. But every time I tried to replace myself in any kind of capacity, it would always just add more expenses and the profit would always stay the same.
But is it because you're the technical guy, not the business guy, and your co-founder now is the business guy or the marketing guy, or why is that?
No, it was because, there was probably 50 different reasons, but when you sell a website for $2,000, you're relying on a whole bunch of different skills to get that website done. And there's really no way you can make money if you're going out meeting clients and you're spending 3 or 4 hours writing a proposal and then losing 75% of projects, and, then doing copy yourself, doing hosting, doing SEO, doing web design, doing development, doing the content, and then doing support afterwards, doing the training for the clients. All of that stuff it's all fine when you do it yourself as a freelancer, but when you try and actually build a business out of it, it becomes quite hard. But no, I'm not especially technical. I'm sort of like a generalist, I guess. I've got a good understanding of most things, and I'm not particularly skilled in anything.
All right. How about the startup after that? What was it?
Yeah, that was called Informally. It was an analytics dashboard. And after that, I really just wanted to. But I think
it's still there, or it's no. Still, you sold it? Or?
It's still there, but you can't sign up for it anymore. The site is still there. I've created a lot of content. We just sort of redirected the content through to WP Curve. But the idea was that it would get all your metrics from different places and give you a dashboard summary. And again, I just made a lot of mistakes. I kind of built something that took me a long time before I got paid customers, and I only had a year's worth of runway, and by the end of that year I'd only had $500 worth of monthly recurring revenue, and it was just not making any money, so I was in trouble.
So how different is WP Curve? It's also a support company for web development, and just describe for us the concept, how it works, how different, what is the competitive advantage of it?
Yeah, so all we do with WP Curve is small 30-minute fixes. So we do web development, web developer fixes. We don't do development as such. We don't do new projects, but we do support and ongoing 30-minute fixes. We do unlimited jobs for $69 a month, and WordPress only. And in terms of how it was different, the main way it's different is we know exactly how much it costs us to have a client, and therefore we know how much to charge to make a decent margin. which means when we grow profitably. We don't just grow the revenue. And it's also a very simple service. It's easy for anyone to understand and easy for people to pass on the message. And we've been able to hit a bit of a momentum over the last 12 months that just kind of keeps growing every month because it's a simple value proposition for people. A lot of people have WordPress problems, and this is a very good way to fix it. If you're used to dealing with agencies or you're used to trolling through Odesk or Elance, this makes it a lot easier.
Which co-founder came up with the idea? And tell us more about, like, you are far from the job, how many days, 7 days or how many days, and then how did you come up with the idea?
Yeah, well, I was by myself for a while, so I started the business before Alex joined. I was about 2 weeks away from getting a job. I'd already started looking for jobs and working out, if I was going to have to move back to the city. But, I mean, how did I come up with the idea? I don't know. To me, it's not like an amazing idea. I had lots of different ideas. It just seemed like one that I could launch quickly. And I had a lot of people on my email list because with Informally, I built up a lot of content and built up an email list and built up a bit of a following. I just hadn't created a product that they wanted. And I tried 3 different versions of it. And by the time it was 2 weeks out from the end, it was impossible for me to build a software app in that time. And I'd tried 3 times and I'd failed. I'd pretty much given up on that. So I had to do something. I was going to do some sort of services, but I didn't want to do projects. I didn't want to create another unprofitable company. So I just thought of this monthly support for WordPress. A lot of our audience members use WordPress. And I didn't give it a huge amount of thought. I just kind of ran with it. I emailed the list, put up the site really quickly, which was pretty bad. It was a different name. We've changed the name, changed the site, changed everything since then. But yeah, within a week, I'd built $500 in recurring revenue, which is the same I'd built in a year with the previous business.
How many people were on the list? And you will build the list through the previous startup, which is Informally. What the name of it?
Yeah, I think there was about 4,000 or 5,000 on our email list, or maybe 4,000 on our email list a year ago.
Okay.
And I think there's 13,000 or 14,000 now. But back then it was. I've just been sending a weekly email for a long time, and I've just gradually, slowly built it up through the content, giving stuff away, and
you were doing the support by yourself. Why decided to have Alex on board?
Well, I just spent a long time building a company by myself, and I sort of had decided by that point that it was just too hard to do it on your own. So that was one thing. And then also, it's a business that runs 24/7, so I always knew I needed someone on that side of the world anyway. And I could have tried to get an employee, but it would have taken me a long time to figure that out and get someone who was dedicated. And Alex just came along, and it was sort of right spot at the right time. He volunteered to work for me for free for a couple of months. And then by the end of those 2 months, I think I was trying to think how many customers we would have been up to, maybe like 60, 70 customers or something. And it was sort of obvious that it was taking off. So we just agreed to go in together.
Like, how did you meet him?
He was one of the readers of my blog, and I put a blog post up and he commented on there, and then we got on Skype, and that was how we met. We still haven't actually met face to face. I'm going to meet him in 4 weeks in Hawaii.
Wow. So for how long you started WP Curve until now you didn't meet him?
14 months.
14 months. Wow.
Yep.
And with all this success, none of you like decided to travel to the other one just to meet and discuss the business? And
well, we did just now, so that's what we're doing in Hawaii in November, the start of November.
With how many people you started and how many people you have now?
Well, when I started, I had me and Andrew, who was our lead developer, and he did all the fixes, because I'm not I can do basic stuff in WordPress, but I'm not a developer. And he's still with us, and we have a team of developers around the world, mostly in the Philippines, but also in other parts of the world, so we can service 24 hours. And I think we're up to 21 or 22 of us in all up now.
What's all of them developers? You have project managers, assistants. Can you tell us more about that and how the system works, like how you manage those people?
Yeah, well, we don't have all the resources we need right now. Like what we really need, I think, is a project manager in each of the 3 time zones to cover 24 hours. At the moment, we don't really have that. We've got one in the US, we've got me in Australia, and we've got the developers in sort of at night time in Australia or early morning in the US, and they manage it themselves. So we're sort of making do with that at the moment. But I think eventually, you know, when we're ready, we will get a dedicated project manager in each region. We use Slack, which is the chat messaging type app that we use for our team. So all of us are in there. We're always chatting to each other. We use that instead of email. Our team doesn't have email. We just use Slack to replace email and kind of Skype or something for chat.
What's the name again? The spelling?
Slack, S-L-A-C-K.
S-L-A-C-K. All right. So you chat between, but like how? Take me through the funnel. Like when somebody send an email, which system or software you use to send the task to the right team member if he's not occupied?
Yeah, at the moment we use Help Scout. And we really have someone, like the project manager, if it's either me or if it's Michelle or someone in the Philippines or if it's Julie over in the US or Alex, we'll manually look at how much work people have got on and just assign each task to them, which is quite manageable right now. I think we're doing about maybe like 100 or 150 tasks per day. And so it's quite easy to bulk select them and kind of assign them to people and that kind of thing. But eventually, when we're sort of twice as big, I think we're going to need a better system, or not necessarily a better system, but just a better way to manage our particular way of going about fixing sites.
But then how you track them, how you follow up that they have delivered it within 24 hours?
Well, the developer goes through, they do the task, they make a draft to the client, and then the project manager reviews the draft and sends the draft.
So all of that communication is within 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean it's often quicker than that. Like it really depends on how busy we are. We say same day turnaround, but quite often it's like 6 hours. I think it averages out at 6 to 7 hours.
And how did you find the right people? Like you didn't have any struggles with the people that they are not like committed, and it's 6-7 hours is not an easy thing to find the right people with such a volume of tasks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's possible to run a business that has people in it where you don't have any issues with people. So I think we've had as many issues as any company would have. But we've been really lucky. A lot of our guys have referred their friends to come and work for us. And that's actually a lot of how we get our guys is they'll come and work for us and they'll realize it's because we're really flexible with the hours and stuff, and we pay quite well compared to other people. So they'll refer their friends to come and work for us. They know exactly how we work, so it's almost like they know what to expect. It's a good fit to start with. So we haven't had that many problems with staff.
You pay per hour, or you pay salaries, or you pay per hour?
No, all our guys are contractors. So some of them sort of work full-time-ish hours, and others will just work part-time or work certain hours, or they'll do extra time on the weekends or nights or whatever, depending on what their kind of life schedule is.
How much average you pay per hour?
We don't talk about how much we pay because we sort of feel like it's not fair on the team. But I've put a post up on our site on wpcurve.com/hiring/developers, and it's about 5,000 words on exactly what we do to go about finding developers, and it's our exact process that we use internally. Our staff actually find the developers themselves now. So we have assistants who go out and find the developers and give them trials, make sure they're a good fit, talk to them, organise for them to start, and then at the final point they kind of get approval from me or Alex to get them on board. But yeah, we don't talk about how much we pay, but it's pretty easy. If you get on that post in the comments, I've linked up a couple of places to find like average pay rates in somewhere like the Philippines, and we generally pay a fair bit above what the average is.
Do you have an office, or like you just operate from home? How that works?
Yeah, we're 100% remote in that we don't have an office that people can come to, but I've got a co-working space, which is where I am here. And Alex has got a very similar setup to me. He works out of WeWork in San Francisco. So I'm at a place called Watso in Varsity Lakes on the Gold Coast. I'm in like a little office. I'm not sure if you can see much behind me, but I'm in a tiny little office, and that's the rest of the co-working space out there. And Alex has got a very similar setup in WeWork. He's got the same tiny little office he shares with one other guy, which is what I do as well. And the rest of the guys work from home.
So you come like full time, 8 or 6 hours, and he covers you up when he's like in a different time zone.
Yep. And then we're also, I mean, we've got our phones. I don't really necessarily need to be at my desk because we're not actually doing the work for clients. We're just kind of overseeing things. We've got Slack on the phone. And
from Help Scout, you can see all the tasks and who's working on it. And
yeah, we can see that. And we've got Slack on the phone. So Slack is like a messaging on the phone. It's sort of like I suppose it's similar to Skype, but it's just as good on the phone as it is on the computer. So we can, if there's a problem, the team can let us know, and that's kind of gets to us instantly.
Do you have a plan to change this system, like you use, let's say, Asana or use something else? Because now your communication with the clients, I've tried your services, it's great, only via email, and I personally struggle with that.
Yeah, is probably build our own system, because I think the way our service works is it's sort of like in between a support service and the development service, and I don't really think the support desks are really what we need, and I don't really think the project tools are really what we need. So we're working on something ourselves, which I think will be easier. Well, one of the things I want to fix is, like, email can be okay for simple tasks that aren't that urgent, but you get to that point where something's either urgent or you're not happy with what the developer's done, and it's much easier to kind of jump in and jump on chat. And that at the moment is a bit clunky, and so I want to make sure that's really seamless. Phone support's a bit harder. I'm not really sure if or when we'll be able to do phone support. We're going to have basically a dedicated project manager who's available.
And you don't plan like, let's say, to have a team, offline team, so you have more control, more consistency, or you want to keep it like this? However, you are great in terms of speed and consistency, and I know it's like lots of struggle with people online. It's not easy, but you're doing a great job. But you don't have a plan to have an offline team? Oh, the picture freezed. Yeah, can you hear me now? Yeah.
I gotcha. Yep. No, I mean, no, we don't plan on having developers come into an office and create an agency, because people have got that option already, and people have to pay a lot more for that. And that's cool. That's an option for people, but I think we can figure out a way to do it. I mean, I definitely want to improve the quality of the service, and I've got about 4 or 5 things I want to do that I think will definitely do that. But no, one of them is not hiring a local team and doing it locally, because I think there's lots of those options out there already, and I really want to figure out a way to do it for $70 a month, not $700 a month.
Do you have a plan to offer more plans with, let's say, higher prices and more services, or you want to stick with the same concept?
Well, I mean, it's with me and Alex, it's a partnership, so we both have different ideas about that stuff, and we kind of have to work out what we're doing. It's part of what we'll do in the Hawaii is work out, like, are we going to offer different services, or are we going to offer different plans, like multi-site plans? Or, I mean, we say no to all sorts of stuff, and it's really just deciding what we can do profitably and what we can do at a really good level of service. So I don't know what we're going to do other than what we're doing right now. We haven't changed what we're doing right now in 12 months, and I think we still need to do better at what we're doing right now. So my preference would be to focus on that, and keep improving that and get the service quality higher and just continue growing. I mean, we're growing at 15% a month, so we definitely don't need to go out and create a whole bunch more new services, I don't think. But if that's what we decide on doing, we might. I really don't know.
How much is your revenue when you started, and how much is it now? I know you are very open about it. You share it on the site, and also tell me more about this openness and the reason behind it on the site. Do you think it helped in more establishing like trust with the customers? And
yeah, definitely. I mean, we've become sort of known for that content, and our content is just, especially the last month or two, has just gone crazy on our site. Our traffic's gone through the roof, and just from a branding point of view, a lot of people have heard about us, and a lot of people hear about us through things like the monthly reports or interviews like this. We do a lot of content. I think probably 3-4 pieces of content per week, maybe more. And I mean, the openness is just something I believe in, something I've always done, and hopefully I'll continue doing. That's really, I think it helps people, and I think it's interesting. I think it makes for good content, and it's motivating for me. I love doing it. I can't really see any downside, so that's why I do it. In terms of revenue, well, when we started we were zero, and now I think it's up to about, it's probably pretty close to 40 grand a month. I think I can check actually. I've got a little dashboard. I'll just check, but it's probably pretty close to 40 grand a month, I think now. And almost all of that is recurring, but we do one-off jobs sometimes,
like
which we've just started doing in an effort.
5%, like one-time jobs?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so 555 customers, 512 of those are recurring, and $41,581 a month, and 38,500 of that is recurring. Oh, that's pretty cool. So I should work that out. So that might be more than $500,000 a year, which would be a nice milestone. 41.
Expenses, how much you have? Like 50%?
Almost. Yeah,
right.
About 50%.
All right. How do you manage your content? Like, how do you plan it? I see that you record interviews as well. You do hangouts, you do blog posts. How do you divide that? Do you write most of it yourself? Do you outsource some of it? What's your strategy for content?
At the moment, I do pretty much all of it. Alex does a bit of stuff off-site. He started working for Forbes, or not working. Well, I suppose I'm not sure if he's working for them, but he's writing for them. So he's doing a bit of stuff off-site. I do most of the stuff on-site, and I have guest contributors as well. But with those posts, I tend to also do a lot of work on the posts and end up sort of rewriting most of them myself, with a few exceptions. We've had some really incredible ones. We just had a book marketing one that was done by Tom Morks, who helped me market my recent book, and that was incredible. I didn't have to do hardly anything with that, and it was like 7,000 words. So we do have like one-offs like that, but generally it's content that I do. We're also getting a content intern that's going to start in 2 weeks, and he's going to create a new podcast for us and roll with the podcast himself, because it's something that me and Alex sort of haven't really been able to do.
What his name? He was just involved in marketing the book, or just creating the content for you?
Well, Tom was just involved in the book. Tom Morks, his site is tommorks.com, M-O-R-K-E-S. And Kyle Held is the name of the content marketing intern that's coming on. He's going to work with us on mainly the podcast, but he's also going to manage guest content and other content on the blog as well.
Sorry,
I've got a bit of
yeah,
I've got a bit of a cold. I had a massive coughing fit on Pat Flynn's podcast the other day, so hopefully I won't do the same here.
So what is, how do you plan the content? Like you say that I have to post 3 blog posts and then 1-2 videos, 2 interviews, and how you structure your day?
Sorry.
No worries.
It's not as organized as I'd like it to be. It's not that organized. I've got there's heaps and heaps of content ideas in there, and I pick whatever interests me, whatever I think I can write a good piece of content about, and I'll create something about that. And generally it'll hopefully be something that other people are interested in too, and I'll email list each week. But it's not, strategy wise, it's not all that organized, and that's what I'd like to get, where we do a certain amount of posts each week.
Do you use any other channels for marketing WP Curve, or just SEO and writing content? Do you do advertisements, or like cold calling or sales calls?
No.
So what helped is like just the list at the beginning, because most people struggle, like lots of people, especially in the internet marketing or let's say web development space, it's very difficult to drive the traffic just from SEO or just writing great content, especially at the start. So how did you do that?
Well, It probably depends on your definition of great content. I think 9 out of 10 people I meet do not understand what great content is. Even people who are so-called writers, and I'll probably offend people, but I think it's not a good piece of content is not something that is necessarily created by someone who's a great writer, because it's not like the quality of the words that's that important. It's whether or not what you've written actually resonates with people, and when people feel like they're connecting with something, or when they're getting something extremely useful. Like if you check out the book marketing posts on our blog, like literally we've gone through every single last minute detail about how we turned our book into what I thought was just going to be another week putting it up on Amazon into a bestseller in 3 different categories. And we've gone through every single thing we've done, and that is extremely useful content to people. And I've been doing that consistently for 2.5 years, probably longer, and eventually it started paying off. And it started paying off probably a year ago when I really started to notice, or maybe actually probably longer. When I was doing Informally, I had a lot of traction on some posts. I did like a big podcasting guide and some content marketing posts that did really well. And a lot of startup stuff as well. Like I put out a lot of content about Informally failing and my struggles through that. And I was doing the monthly reports, even though I wasn't making any money, but I was still doing them. And the content was just something that people really liked. And I think if it is good content, then, and I pushed it hard and I did a lot of it. You know, I was doing 3 or 4 posts a week, probably more. Back then I was doing more, I think, and big, long 2,000-3,000 word posts. And I was doing loads of podcasts. I think one day I did 13 blog posts in one day. Another week I did, I think, 11 podcast episodes in 1 week. And I just kind of went nuts and worked out what people really liked and just sort of figured it out. I don't know if there's necessarily an easy answer, but I think if you think your content's great, then I think possibly 99% of the time it's the content's not as good as you think it is, and that's probably the problem.
How much like percentage the SEO work from the content? Like how much, let's say 80% content, 20% SEO. Who's doing the SEO for you? Are you like
we don't do any SEO. We don't do any SEO. No. All I do is I mean, it depends what you call SEO. To me, I don't like the term SEO. I mean, I put good content out there, and people find it in Google because it's good content, because people link to it and people talk about it and they share it. The most SEO I've ever done on WP Curve is using Yoast to optimize a post for a keyword. That's the most SEO I ever do, which is about a 30-second job for each post. And we're ranking for all sorts of keywords that, you know, bring us huge amount of traffic. The WordPress speed post, I think, brought us 5,000 visits last month just for that one post, just from Google.
So you just look at the Yoast and see if it's a green or yellow or orange, and that's it. You don't do like link building or off-page SEO at all.
I don't do what you would call SEO. I mean, we do a lot of offsite content. Well, we don't do a lot of offsite content. I do a lot of stuff like this, which is technically SEO, technically offsite content, and I'm sure I will get a link out of it. We get quite a bit of press, and generally when you get press, you get links as well. We give a lot of stuff away for free, and we're pretty generous on other people's podcasts and giving away things, so you tend to get links out of that. But I don't do that for links, and I don't really call it SEO. In terms of the Yoast thing, I don't even know how often I do that. Not that often. Like, I'll do that if I've got a post that really is specifically targeting a keyword, but that's pretty rare. Normally our posts are just something I think is going to resonate at the time, and I write it, and I won't even think about SEO. I'll just put it up on the site.
How many visitors do you have per month to the site?
Last month we had 50,000.
Wow. Is live chat helping you convert customers?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think in the beginning it helped us enormously, because it sort of enabled us to chat to both current customers and new customers and just explain the service and work out what people really wanted, what issues they were having trouble with. It's still really good. Customers don't often use it for support. It's more often used for pre-sale stuff. So people get on there and ask questions about the service. And I'm a huge fan of it. The only reason I don't have it on every single page is because I've taken off a lot of our scripts just to make the site faster, and you put anything on a page and it's going to sort of impact the speed of it. But we've got it on our contact page, and when we started, we had it on every page, and we'd use it all day, every day.
But why sometimes you are tough with your customers? Like I remember at the beginning you were very tough with me, and always like whenever you're like, let's say you're not happy with a customer, you send an email like opt out, we will send you back your money. Like if I would not be experienced and know that I have worked with so many different developers and know that the value that you are adding, if I am a normal like emotional customer, I will quit immediately. So don't you think that you need to be a little bit nicer, especially with the newbies in the internet world?
Yeah, sorry, I don't know. It's a tough one. I think I'm normally pretty nice to customers. There's a few cases where I haven't been that nice, namely when customers aren't nice to our team. Like if they say something that might offend our team, then I'll cut them off, because it's very, very hard to find good team members. It's much easier for us to find a new customer than it is to find a staff member. So if anyone says anything that's going to offend our team, then our team will see it because they get those messages directly. Then I won't be nice to people. Otherwise, I'd have to think of the example, but I think I'm normally pretty nice. If I'm not nice, it's probably one of either two reasons. One, I'm just in a really bad mood, which doesn't happen very often, but maybe that day I was in a really bad mood. I don't know. The other time is when it's obvious to me that, like, I know this service doesn't work for everybody because email doesn't work for everybody. And we could keep going back and forth and just trying to defend ourselves and, try to say, this is really, we can really make this work
but
or
you
whatever.
don't have
but
like a
at the end of the day,
you don't have team members who can handle, let's say, tough customers, and team members you send them the sweet customers is like that. You don't like, channel your customers into your team based on the communication. And
it depends what you mean by tough customer. I mean, generally we can tell if it's not a good fit. If people are just, if you can tell that like what they're requiring, that our team can manage, then I'm not. So if
it's freezing, yeah, a little bit.
So I think in those cases, we normally just say, look, this is obviously not working. It's probably better if we...
yeah, it's okay now.
I mean, some customers really actually need... If we just give you a refund and you go somewhere else, we know that you're going to... So if you're the type of customer, if you need to sit with your developer in person and talk stuff through, if this service is just not going to work. I mean, we could try and make it work, but it's just not going to. So I'd rather just be honest, give them a refund, and we'll get more customers. We're getting customers every day sign up, and for that person, it's better for them that they, they'll have to pay more probably, and they'll have to get a different type of service. But if it's not a good fit, it's better for them if they go elsewhere. So that's kind of my philosophy. I definitely still try to be nice about it. And I apologize if I wasn't nice to you, but
is there any like outsourced companies or web development? Sometimes they sign up with you and they sell on higher prices. Like I thought about this. Do you work with them like on a special discount price or just affiliate or?
We don't work with them at all. If they try to do that, we generally send them to a blog post we've written about white label, which basically says we don't want to do it and we don't do it, and here are our reasons. If they sign up anyway and we don't know that that's what they're doing, it generally becomes pretty obvious, and we just kind of explain that
is that to
doesn't
protect
a great service for anybody.
The reason for that to protect
the service is just not as good when it's delivered that way.
I mean
it's just about the quality of the service.
No, but if they will be the face with their clients and they are just using you not directly to communicate with the client, they will communicate. So they will be the middleman between you, as you are, let's say, your developers. You are the development team for them, and they are communicating directly with the client. So you don't have any interaction with the client. So you don't have a problem with that, or you have a problem with that?
No, that creates a situation where the clients aren't getting the best value. When we've tried to... No, I have a problem with... Well, I mean, there's a few things. One is we don't need the extra core service is as good as it can be. So there's that. I mean, we're not really motivated to take on work like that because we don't need to. But the other thing is when we've tried to do that, we haven't been able to get the pricing right. We weren't able to get people to for it. And the service in the end was not as good to the end customer. So I would rather, and plus because it's not as good to the end customer, that person becomes less satisfied with our service. So I would rather just have a good service that people love. And that's what I'm working towards. And if there's a way that we do business where it results in a worse service, then in the past we've just said no to it, and hopefully we'll keep saying no to it unless we can work out a way to do it where everybody's happy.
What's the philosophy of one task at a time? Or is there like a plan to increase it? Or let's say if I want more work, I have to subscribe twice, or? I
don't know if we gave it that much thought. I mean, it sort of works to limit the amount of tasks people can request. And it also, because it's a support service, it also prevents people signing up for the wrong reason. Like we've had people sign up where they've just started a new business and they want a new WordPress site and they've got 20 different tasks. And they send through 20 tasks to us because they want to use our support service as a way to develop their site when really they need a developer and they need to do a project. So one at a time sort of turns those people off, which aren't the people that really should be signing up for the service. So it naturally sort of limits that. I'd like to think about whether or not we could do some sort of scheduling, but that would come down to the software as well. Our software doesn't allow for it. So if someone sends 20 jobs out and we can't manage them. So maybe down the track we'll look at some kind of scheduling, but I don't know whether that would work or whether our software could work or whether people want it even. We haven't had that many people sort of say that was a problem.
Do you guarantee the security for the clients, or which softwares you use for that?
Yeah, for the professional plan where we do all the upgrades automatically each month, well, not automatically, but proactively each month, then we'll have a security guarantee where if the site's hacked, then we'll do whatever it takes to get it back up for no charge. For normal clients, the way the service works is we only do work when they request jobs. So we can't guarantee that their site's secure. If they don't request us to upgrade the site, then the site won't be upgraded and it won't be.
And you usually have
we've fixed so many hack sites that generally we can do that.
Usually you have a backup, daily backup, or how it works?
Yeah. On the professional version, we always back up before we do any upgrades and we do it once a month anyway. And then on the standard version, we back up before every task so we can restore it if something goes wrong. And then we also recommend to clients that they have their host do a daily backup because generally that's done outside of WordPress, not inside of WordPress, because it kind of makes things slow and clogs up the site and whatnot. So we kind of recommend that they have that set up with their host. And where possible, we also recommend that they use a host, someone like WPN, that automatically does backups and has like a one-click, simple, fast backup and prompts you to back up every time you make a change. And all of that just kind of increases security and the limits the chance of something bad going wrong if the site's hacked and you can't restore it.
For the people who want, let's say, web development or services which is outside of the service that you provide, do you recommend for them some services like migration or hosting or web development?
Yeah, we do it if we've got someone confident in. So hosting, we recommend WP Engine because we're confident in them. For migrations, we recommend Fantastic, because we're confident in them. Other than that, we don't really recommend. I can't think of anything else we recommend other than I mean, for development stuff, because part of the problem is because we run 24/7. Like I know a lot of guys in Australia who do web development, and I'm sure I could send work to, but a lot of our clients are over in the US, and if I send them to an Australian, they're going to be working the opposite time zone. It's not going to work for them. So, I mean, if we think it's a really good fit for like someone like Codable who do like project-based development, and they're like a marketplace, and we've had pretty good success sending them stuff. So sometimes we'll send them some work. But in order to like go into our sequence of canned replies for recommendations, like if someone asks a question about hosting, then we will have a canned reply that will customize each time, but it will specifically mention WP Engine and why we like them, what's good about them, what's not good about them, and everyone will get that consistent message. For something like development, we don't have that because we don't have someone that we can refer to that we're super confident in who can deliver 24/7 all the stuff that we can't do. So, yeah.
Do you have a plan? What's your vision for WP Curve? Like, do you plan to keep growing it, selling it on a later stage? What's your vision for it?
I'm not really sure. I have to talk about that with Alex, but we talked about getting to $1 million a year in annual run rate, which is $83,000 a month, and we're very close to $500,000 now, so we're about halfway to that goal. And then I think when we get to that, we'll have to relook at it and work out if we can keep doing it the way we're doing it, or if we have to structure it differently, if we're still happy doing what we're doing. But for me, I mean, obviously with my background, I'm ecstatic with how it's going, and I want to focus on improving the service, making customers happier, getting more customers, making our systems better, getting a better team. I'm still really committed to this problem, and I just want to keep working on it. I love what I do, so that's my answer. But I guess I'll chat to Alex and see what he wants, and we'll work out.
Like, do you plan for partnership to expand it, like example, or do you have like something in the horizon to open branches, or you just want to stay online?
Stay online. I don't think we need branches. I mean, that's what agencies are for. There's plenty of agencies around. If people want that option, they've got that option.
Tell us more about the book, and what's the strategies that you use to market it?
Yeah, so I mean, the book I wrote kind of very quickly based on sort of stuff I'd put out there before. But then I started working with an editor who really, her name's Alyssa from writingbusinesswell.com. She like really changed the book in that she kind of restructured it and made it into something that was kind of a lot better than I thought it was. So once that happened, and I started working with a formatter and a designer, and once it sort of became real, I sort of started to realize this is actually the book method into the month. So I chatted to Tom about what we could do. It was 2 or 3 weeks out from the launch, and he just started this gigantic process for Amazon and just went nuts. I mean, I can tell you what we did. There's a post on our site that's like 7,000 words about everything. I can probably give you like a high level breakdown of the main steps, if you like.
You self-published it?
Yep, self-published. Tom looked after all of that. Derek, I think Creative Indie Designs is his business. He's the guy who did the design and the formatting for me. So he did the book covers. He made it all look nice. He did the PDF and the versions for Kindle and the versions for print. And then Tom uploaded that to CreateSpace, who does the printing, and they're part of Amazon. So when you order a print version on Amazon, they just print it on demand, send it out. And I got a bunch of them. I've got them here, actually. I'll show you one. There you go.
Great. All the best with it.
So I got a bunch of them printed off. I just keep them away in the office if anyone wants one. But yeah, so that was done with CreateSpace, and the rest is just on Amazon. We just put it up on Kindle, and then we gave it away. I just wanted to give it away full stop, but they would only let me give it away for 1 week, so we gave it away for 1 week, and then I just put it at whatever the minimum is, like $1 or something on Kindle.
Share with us some of the tools and softwares that you use to makes you more efficient.
Well, Slack is the main one we use for like the team team chat and messaging. So that gets us out of email, gets us out of something like Skype. So that's a huge one. I use Google Docs for absolutely everything. I don't think I have a single doc that I can think of that's not in Google. Maybe there is a couple, but just about every like spreadsheet or Word doc is in Google. Then all of our files are kept in Google Drive, so everything's in there. We use Google Apps and Gmail. What else? We use Help Scout for the customer support side of things. We use Hootsuite for social media stuff. Efficiency-wise, I don't know. I don't think I am that efficient. But yeah, just Google Docs. Even for writing blog posts, I use Google Docs because I can do it on my phone or do it on the computer, and then we can just move it over to WordPress.
What's your daily life and work routine look like?
Turning up late for podcasts. Sorry about that. So yeah, as you've experienced this morning, in the morning I take my kids to school. So if I organise something at 8:30 by mistake, which I did today, then I'm late. So sorry about that. But yeah, so my day is very similar to a normal person that works, like a 9-to-5 job. I take my kids to school in the morning. I normally get to work around 9. I'll go for a surf or something if there's waves, and if I can get the morning off taking the kids. My work is pretty much 9 to 5 in the co-working space, or I'll work from home. Sometimes I work from home if I'm doing podcasts because I've got a better mic and whatnot. But lately I've just been coming in here, and then that's pretty much it. I'm probably a bit too addicted to my phone, and everything's on my phone. So like at night I'll probably check my emails and check Slack and make sure the team are okay. But I very rarely turn my computer on at night unless I've got some time off and writing some content or something. But generally I just work a pretty normal day.
What are your other hobbies?
Surfing, making beer, and family.
Your top 3 mentors?
This one's pretty hard because I think I like to learn from people for a period of time, and then I kind of move on in a way. Like if I want to learn a particular skill, I'll follow someone who's doing that really well, and I'll just kind of look at what they're doing and learn from them. So I think for every skill that I've developed, I've probably got a different mentor. Some of them are people I've met. Some of them are people I've just sort of followed online. So I think for content marketing, probably someone like Neil Patel, James Schramko early on was a big influencer, and I know James. He's a nice guy and a smart guy. And early on, from content and syndication and SEO, all that stuff, I learned heaps from him, and podcasting as well. Dan Andrews for podcasting, Rob Walling, and I'd say for startup stuff, Rob Walling and Jason Calacanis, who does This Week in Startups. Rob does startups for the rest of us, and he wrote the foreword for my book. And I call him the Oracle. He knows everything about bootstrap startups, and so I've learned a lot from him and his podcast. And Jason Calacanis, just because that show just opens your mind about what kind of businesses can be big businesses. I think, it's cookies made out of crickets, or cupcakes, or home cleaning services, or transport, just electronic skateboards. Like every week he's got some other crazy business on there that's got multi-million dollars in funding and on a pathway to billion-dollar companies, and it just blows your mind. So I don't get exposed to that much of that sort of thing in Australia or in the Gold Coast where I am. So I follow that podcast, and that just kind of keeps opening my mind to what's possible.
Top 3 apps that you use on your smartphone?
Top 3 apps. Well, I just got the new iPhone. I'd say apps, Slack, I'd say definitely. I use Instagram the most probably, but that's not really work related at all. So I probably can't claim that. I use the podcast app to listen to podcasts. I listen to lots of podcasts, and I really like the iPhone podcast app. And I don't know, maybe Twitter. Twitter we sort of use a little bit for work. I use Facebook more for work, so I know they're all boring answers, but social media stuff is probably what I do most on my phone, and Facebook is pretty big for us for work, and Twitter less so, and Instagram probably a little bit less so. But for managing the team, Slack, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing else on there that I really kind of couldn't live without, I don't think.
Most three important factors for success in 3 words.
Get people's attention.
With no SEO.
Is that enough?
With no SEO. Top 3 favorite books.
I'm actually really hopeless at reading books. I've probably only read 3 books that I can think of. So I'll just tell you the 3 that I've read. There's the Steve Jobs biography, The 4-Hour Workweek, and Choose Yourself by James Altucher. And The Lean Startup, that's 4, but I think I'll listen to one of them or 2 of them on audio.
Top 3 people that you're inspired by.
I don't know, probably just the same answers as everyone else. Someone like Elon Musk, I guess, just doing just ridiculous things. Steve Jobs. I get attracted to people with crazy stories that are just doing really creative things. Probably Kanye West, another one. Just someone who's just done so many different style, like with his music, a lot of different styles of music. He brings out music that you just wouldn't expect someone like him to do. And I know he's a bit of a, I know he's crazy and he's probably not a nice guy, but those sort of crazy creative people are probably the people that inspire me.
What makes you really happy?
Being busy.
All right, last question. How people can contact you?
Yep. So depending on how you want to contact me, you can email me, dan@wpcurve.com. My Twitter is @Dan_Norris, THE Dan Norris. And I'm on Facebook. I assume you just search for Dan Norris on Facebook and just add me as a friend. And just wpcurve.com/blog is where I put all of my content. That's probably all the ways I can think of.
Thank you so much for this interview, Dan. Really appreciate it. And I know that you are sick, but it went well. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me, and I'm sorry I was late. I don't like being late, but obviously stuffed something up. But I hope it's useful for your audience, and if anyone's got any questions about the business or about the content or the book or anything, then just send me an email, and I'll always read and reply to all my emails.
Thanks again. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone. Be efficient and stay efficient, and see you soon with another leading expert.